G'day gamers, Ranger Tony here with another Pathfinder Kingmaker tutorial video. Today we're going to talk about teamwork feats. So the first thing to be aware of with teamwork feats is that they use up, you can take them as any normal feat, right? So if you've already built a guide for a build that you want to have, or you've found one online, and you decide you want to use some teamwork feats in there, I know this sounds obvious, but you're going to have to get rid of one of those normal feats and take them in place, take a teamwork feat in its place. The other thing is that with a few exceptions, because they are teamwork feats, you need at least 2 people in your party, in your team, to have that feat for it to work. And generally speaking, those 2 people that have that feat have to work together to make the feat work. So they've both got to be doing something similar. And the feats will give the descriptions on how all that works. Now, there are a few classes that work really well with teamwork feats. In particular, the Inquisitor is designed, and that's what I'm building here. This is an Inquisitor at level 3 getting their first teamwork feat. Inquisitors are designed and they get given teamwork feats for free. They get, 3, 5, 6 of them through the course of their thing. And you can take more if you want. At other odd levels, when you get normal feats, you could take more teamwork feats. There's only 11 teamwork feats all up in the game at this point in time. I believe this is version 2.0.5C. Whether they add more teamwork feats later on or not, I don't know. And there's a few other classes that get teamwork feats, either multiples or just one at various times for free. And there's a few classes or archetypes that are able to use teamwork feats solo. So the Inquisitor is able to work with teamwork feats even if no one else has them. And for example, high-level fighters can take a feat that allow them to use teamwork feats solo. And there are a few other classes that can do things like that as well. Now, the feats that are available do a range of different things. Some of them work with melee, some of them work with spell casting, some of them are very much defensive. The first thing that you will find, though, when you're looking at the feats is that there are unfortunately none that work with ranged, or none that are specifically designed for ranged combat. So if you want to play a group of archers, none of the teamwork feats are really going to help you directly. Now, there are a couple that you can take that might be useful, but generally speaking, these are designed for melee or casters. So let's have a look at them all now. As I said, there's only 11, so this won't take very long, but hopefully by the end of this, you'll have an idea as to how you can use some of these feats and if you want to use them. So there are only a few that have very particular requirements on them that a 3rd level Inquisitor could not take. Some of them do have things like minimum base attack bonus. Others have dexterity or intelligence or things like that. And a couple have some other feats that you have to have taken first. So the Allied Spellcaster, this is a very simple one, and if you've got any spellcasters in your group, it's actually a really good idea, because it basically means that if you have 2 or more spellcasters with this feat, they get an +2 bonus to their concentration checks and level checks used to overcome spell resistance. So if you have multiple spellcasters in your group, and they don't, I believe, have to be all of the same type, so you can have a mixture of divine or arcane spellcasters, and using this you can get bonuses to concentration checks and spell resistance. So that is a nice feat to have, and it has no prerequisites, so you can take it at any time. Back to back is essentially a melee one. It is that while you are flanked and adjacent to an ally, then you receive a +2 bonus to your AC against attacks of opportunity from being flanked. So this makes you a little bit harder to be flanked because you have a friend right there next to you who is protecting you a little bit. It does have a perception requirement, so you must have at least 3 points of perception to take this. I guess the idea is that you can tell that someone is behind you and able to have your back. But yes, that's not a bad little feat, that one. Coordinated defense has no requirements, and it allows you to get a +2 bonus to any combat maneuver defense, which increases to +4 if the creature is larger than you and your ally. So as long as your ally and yourself both have this, you all get a +2 bonus to combat maneuver defense. Again, not a bad little feat if you expect to be coming up against a lot of opponents that are going to be using combat maneuvers against you, trips and things like that. Now, coordinated maneuvers is another one to do with combat maneuvers, and it means that while you're adjacent to an ally who also has this, you will receive a +2 bonus to your combat maneuver, and that will increase to +4 when attempting to break free from a grapple. Now, I'm not entirely sure if there is grappling in the game, but a +2 bonus to your combat maneuver works well. Now, there is a tandem trip maneuver down here later. If you had coordinated maneuvers when you did tandem trip, it makes tandem trip work even better. Precise strike for a melee group, a group of melee fighters all working together to attack the same target. This is wonderful. So when you and an ally who also have the feat are attacking the same creature, you can deal an additional 1d6 of precision damage with each successful attack. It does have a prerequisite of a dex of 13 and a base attack bonus of 1, but there are a lot of classes and builds that you could make where you could take this at first level if you wanted to for multiple fighters. They don't have to be fighters, just melee combatants. The bonus does stack with other sorts of precision damage such as sneak attack, but it does not work on the multiplier. It's not multiplied by a critical hit. It is separate from a crit. But again, a nice little damage boost if you're working as a team to attack the same creature. Anytime I build a team that has a group of melees in them, for example, my all rogue builds where I have 3 melee rogues and 3 ranged rogues, the melee rogues will all have precision strikes so that they can do that much more damage when they hit. And you can do it with rangers, fighters, paladins, inquisitors, barbarians, anything you want. Anyone who's going to be using melee, if there are multiple melee party members, put this on them if they're all going to attack the same creature. If you tend to play where you have one opponent, you spread things out. If you're up against a group of 6, each one of your party members attacks a different opponent, then this is not the feat for you. But if you tend to work as a team to take out individual opponents each time, then this is great, and I highly recommend it. Shake it off. This is probably the only feat that you might consider taking in a group of archers, because this could be good to save against spells and other area of effect things that might be cast at you. So when you are adjacent to an ally who has this feat, you gain a +1 bonus on the saving throws per ally to a maximum of 4. So if your entire party has this, you will all get +4 bonuses on saving throws when you are grouped together and you're all getting attacked by spells. Even if only one of you gets attacked by spells, that person will get a +4 bonus. So, as I said, that's probably the only feat you can take as a group of archers. But as a team, that is good for everybody. You could take that on every party member, and there are no requirements. So you could take this at first level if you wanted. Shield wall. If you have members of your party who use shields and are wielding a shield at the time, 2 or more party members who have shields will receive a bonus to their armor class based on who is near them and what shields they are using. So if they're using bucklers or light shields, you will receive a +1, and if they are using heavy or tower shields, you'll receive a +2. So 2 or 3 fighters working together with shields, all sort of standing together and attacking the same opponent, they will all receive +1 or +2 to their armor class because they work as a shield wall. Shielded caster. This is if you have someone who stays back with your casters. Now, the classic example here may be that you have a cleric or some other divine caster who is carrying a shield. Think of Harem with his mace and shield. If you have them staying back and protecting any casters in your group, then if you give shielded caster to both the shield wearer and the caster, then they can get a +4 bonus to their concentration checks, and if they're using a light shield or a buckler, it becomes +5. If they're using a heavy shield, it becomes +6. So that's a great little way. Look, if you know a lot of fantasy novels, think of Caramon and Rastalin from the Dragonlance books. Caramon hanging back next to Rastalin with his sword and shield protecting him would have given Rastalin a +4 bonus to concentration, or +5 or even +6 based on the shield that he was using. So the ones that we can't take right now, because there are some requirements that this character doesn't have. Outflank. Now, base attack bonus of 4. So by the time a fighter is at level 4, or some other characters may take you longer depending on how your base attack bonus progresses, you would be able to take this feat. What it does is that allows that if you and your companion are flanking the same creature, you can gain a +4 to your attack roll, and if you score a critical hit against the creature, your ally gets a free attack of opportunity. So that's really good. It means that as you work together to flank an opponent, you can all hit that opponent much easier, and if any of you do a critical hit, the rest of them get an attack of opportunity to do even more damage. So that is a great teamwork feat for another group of fighters. Precise strike and outflank work very, very well together. Another one that is very similar is seize the moment. So when you are working with an ally who has this feat and who confirms a critical hit against an opponent, then you also threaten, then you can make an attack of opportunity against that opponent. Now, at first glance, you might think that an archer could take this feat, but it is not clear to me whether an archer aiming at an opponent is considered to be threatening it. I believe that the threatening aspect of it may be that you are directly in front of them and basically blocking them from moving. So I think the way it works is there's considered to be a sphere of influence around each character. And if you move into that sphere of influence, you are threatening them, and it reduces their ability to move. If they do move, they get an attack of opportunity and all of that type of stuff. So if you are 30 feet away as an archer, you're not threatening. That's my understanding of it. So again, this one would work well with precise strike and outflank, but you need to have combat reflexes, which is a completely separate feat. It's not one of these teamwork feats. It's just another normal feat that you have to have taken to be able to get that. So the idea is that your reflexes in combat are so good that when an opponent when an ally scores a critical hit, you can take advantage of that and get another attack in as well. So again, a group of melee fighters, definitely you would want to consider taking this as well. The last one is tandem trip. If you are using the trip feat, if you have the trip ability, and your ally has the trip ability as well, then you can both take this feat and you basically work together so that even only one of you has to do the trip maneuver, but you both roll. You basically take 2 rolls to see what the trip is, and you take the better of the 2 rolls. But it only uses the action from one of the allies. So that's a nice little feat, and that's one that I added in with my Knife Master Rogue build that I did. And so that would work well in that situation. But if you're not taking any other combat maneuvers like trip, I wouldn't, it's useless to take this. Or if you've only got one party member who's taking trip, then this doesn't do much good. Except for the fact that your Inquisitor might, well, no, it's obvious your Inquisitor can't take it, because this is saying that I can't take it as an Inquisitor right now because I don't have trip. But yeah, so that's not going to help you very much. So those are all of the teamwork feats. As I said, I would have loved to have seen even one specific teamwork feat for archers. I do believe that in Neverwinter Nights 2, there was at least one, I think it was called Volley, in which all of your archers could shoot at the same target and sort of break down their defenses. I don't recall if it imposed an armor class penalty to the opponent, or whether it just allowed you to stack all the damage together before you did things like damage reduction or what. But it was a nice little thing. Just something would be really nice to have for the archers. So this is just one more example of a game that really penalizes archers a little bit. Now, this is frankly the only area I feel where archers are penalized. Archers are actually quite powerful in Pathfinder Kingmaker, which you will probably see when I do my Beneath the Stolen Lands archer playthrough, which I will eventually do. But yeah, so that has been my rundown of teamwork feats. If you are a caster, I recommend getting Allied Spellcaster and Shielded Caster, along with someone who can shield you. If you are melee, if you have multiple melee party members, I definitely recommend at least Precise Strike, and then maybe Outflank. Oh, definitely Outflank, maybe Seize the Moment. And then some of the other ones like Shield Wall or Coordinated Maneuvers and Coordinated Defenses might be nice. Everybody should take Shake It Off, because that just gives you a bonus to save throws. If you can spare the feat to do it, take it. And yeah, back to back is useful, and things like that. But unfortunately, if you're an archer, you're just out of luck. So I hope that was useful. If you like this video, please give me a like and share it with your friends. Be sure to subscribe to keep up to date with all the latest Pathfinder Kingmaker tutorials, and I will see you for the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye.